7-foot-tall famous athlete utilized internet to defraud others. A fictional Power Rangers character threw two individuals into the water. A teenage Canadian actor drove to the Prime Minister's residence with explosives. These aren't story ideas. Court records from 11 years ago. Each man had admirers, movie parts, and employment. Till they didn't, they now live 30, 50, or 90 years. Some judges were too terrified to read the evidence. Dear Danny Masterson, everyone liked the curly-haired, snarky misfit on that 1970s program. For 8 years and nearly 200 shows, Danny Masterson played Stephen Hyde. While the gang went berserk, he joked and stayed calm in millions of homes from 1998 until 2006. Masterson was born in 1976 and started playing as a kid. Before his breakthrough, he worked commercials and tiny TV roles. He appeared in Face Off and Dracula 2000. He returned to TV in 2016 opposite Ashton Kutcher in The Ranch on Netflix. His rehabilitation seemed promising, but it changed. 3 women made substantial allegations at the Me Too movement's climax in 2017. They said Masterson raped and drugged them between 2001 and 2003 when he was renowned. Masterson was a Scientologist, as were all 3 of them. They say he was attacked at his Hollywood Hills home. They said fear and religious prohibition prevented them from speaking out for years. The ladies said police church members advised them not to disclose the rapes. Some stated they had to sign an agreement not to discuss it. Another stated she was bribed to remain silent. All stated coming out hurt. It wasn't simply about decades past. Justice was likewise difficult to get. Masterson denied everything. He stated they both approved the meetings. His attorneys denied the claims and claimed no proof. He went to court in 2022. The jury disagreed, thus the trial was overturned. Court heard the matter again. The second time was different. Masterson was convicted of 2 rapes in May 2023. On the 3rd count, the jury divided again, so prosecutors withdrew. But the damage was done. A famous TV celebrity was convicted of rape. Later on September 7, 2023, he went in court to hear his fate. Judge wasn't shy. She sentenced him to 30 life in prison. 2 consecutive 15-year sentences to life. As she sentenced him, Judge Charlene Olmedo observed, "You are not the victim here." He appropriated his victim's words and actions. Now he must face reality. 2 ladies spoke that day. "You took my spirit when you raped me," someone told you. Someone else said, "I forgive you. Your ailment is gone." Masterson remains silent. California State Jail holds him. He won't be considered for release for 25.5 years. Michael Jace. Michael Jace was famous on TV. For years he was Officer Julian Lowe from The Shield. He portrayed that role in about 90 episodes from 2002 to 2008. His show character was a police officer torn between faith and duty. Despite being on a dishonest squad, he appeared earnest, respectable, and willing to do the right thing. Before The Shield, he was famous for Forrest Gump, Boogie Nights, and The Fan. He played Michael Jordan on TV in 1999. Many felt Jace would be a terrific police officer. Michael Jace hid much worse. The photo was released May 19, 2014. April Jace was shot and killed by Jace in Los Angeles. Even bad, she was 40. They had their 8 and 5-year-old kids at home. Killing wasn't accidental. Angry, physical, and personal. It was tense that day. Jace believed his wife wanted divorce. He suspected she was dating someone else. He snapped and texted before she came home. Then he started shooting when she arrived. 1 bullet struck her back. 2 more hit her legs. Her kids witnessed everything as she collapsed. He didn't chase that. After calming down, he called 911. The police found his wife dead after he said, "I shot my wife," and the 2 nearby worried youngsters. His older son heard something horrible from Jace. "Mom matters to you. Give her a hug." 2 years later, the trial began. Jace said it wasn't murder in 2016. He told the judge he meant to injure her, not kill her. He responded, "I was just mad. I wanted to shoot her leg." But prosecutors didn't believe it. They requested, "Who shoots their lover 3 times in the legs?" They stated it wasn't a mistake or passion. It was cold, worked out. It was crime. The judges concurred. Michael Jace was convicted of second-degree murder on May 31, 2016. People thought it wasn't prepared enough for first degree, but too severe for others. June 10th brought 40 years to life in jail. That sentence included 15 years for murder and 25 for firearms use. Finally, Jace apologized in court. After informing the judge his actions were improper, the harm was done. He divorced his wife, injured his children, and threw away his acting career. Ryan Grantham looked promising. His acting career began at 9. He had modest roles on Canadian series in 2007. In 2010, he was in Diary. He appeared in Supernatural and iZombie. Riverdale, a teen show, cast him in 2019. He attended Simon Fraser University in British Columbia simultaneously. It looked beautiful outdoors, but something was wrong behind the scenes. By early 2020, Grantham's mind was wild. His life was complicated by depression, self-hatred, and aggression. March 31st that year was disastrous. He shot his 64-year-old mother, Barbara Waite, in the back of the head while she played the piano. She had no clue it would. He didn't run away. Instead, he filmed her body with a GoPro and calmly claimed, "I shot her in the back of the head." He even said she knew it was him when she died. The murder was terrifying, but Grantham's next plot was worse. Rather than contact the police, he stayed home. He smoked cannabis, drank beer, and examined his mother's physique. He loaded his car with 3 firearms and several rounds, 12 homemade Molotov bombs, and camping gear. He printed directions to Rideau Cottage, where Justin Trudeau resides. That was his next aim. He traveled east for 200 kilometers to Hope, British Columbia. He then confessed he wanted to assassinate the PM, but he changed his mind. He considered assaulting his school, bombing Vancouver's Lionsgate Bridge. This happened several times. A major emergency caused many deaths. No one expected the bombshell. Grantham turned around and returned to Vancouver. He walked into police station. "Don't hide or utilize attorneys, just I killed my mother." Their words altered everything. He was apprehended and charged with first-degree murder. He pleaded convicted to second-degree murder in 2022. The court wanted to discover how this peaceful man became a murderer. His psychiatrist said he was depressed. His thoughts were always hostile, suicidal, and enraged. It went beyond grief. He went insane. His defense said he was unwell and couldn't think. His punishment was ordered by the court. They also considered his emotions. The judge sentenced him to life on September 21st, 2022. You must wait a specific number of years after being convicted of second-degree murder in Canada to be released. Grantham can't request release until 2036. It will be possible at 28. If he escapes, Joe Sun, famous for one ridiculous bit. Sun performed random task in 1997's Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, a spoof of James Bond's Odd Job. Sun hurled a shoe instead of a pointed hat. Numerous individuals laughed at that joke. It briefly made him famous. He had several tiny roles in cheap 1990s action films, including Shoot Fighter, Fight Till Death. Mixed martial arts were also his experiment. That failed too. He lost all 4 fights. My ego is bruised after 4 losses. Nothing would matter in the long run. Joe Sun was more than a liar and a terrible fighter. he hid something worse. Joe's son and Santiago Gatan committed a terrible crime at Huntington Beach on Christmas Eve 1990. Years passed before they briefly became renowned. They took a 19-year-old lady off the street while walking her dog. Armed men forced her into a vehicle. After that, they raped, battered, and tormented her for hours in an unoccupied place. They threatened to murder her. When finished, they left her nude and afraid beside the road. Case remained cold for years. Joe's son lived, worked, and appeared on TV. There were no uncertainties. Things changed in 2008. A policeman apprehended him for criminal mischief. His probation required a DNA sample, which didn't seem too bad. That DNA matched 1990 attack traces. That should have imprisoned him forever. However, something was wrong. Too much time passed. Time had run out to sue for rape. Despite not charging him with sexual assault, the situation was so horrific that they charged him with kidnapping and torture. He was convicted of torture in 2011. The attorney called it one of the worst instances ever. Joe's son received a life sentence with parole in September. That wasn't the end. After 1 month while waiting to be transferred to another jail, Joe's son murdered his cellmate. His name was Graham Charles, 50 years old. He suffocated to death from sunburn. Son first claimed self-defense. That wasn't right. Finally, he confessed to murder. That killing earned him 27 years in prison in 2017. But it wasn't added to his sentence. It was piled on top. Even after he's released from life in jail, those 27 years won't end. Beausoleil, California's underground cinema and music scene, knew Bobby Beausoleil long ago. Born 1947, he played guitar, starred in odd art films, and sought to live artistically in the 1960s counterculture. He appeared in Mondo Hollywood at 22. Even Lucifer Rising director Kenneth Anger hired him. Beausoleil was invited to make music for it, but he became involved in something darker before finishing. Beausoleil joined Charles Manson by summer 1969. July 25th saw him at Gary Hinman's. Hinman teaches music and sells narcotics. Beausoleil had company. He was with Charles Manson relatives Mary Brunner and Susan Atkins. Next item took time. Beausoleil battered and stabbed Hinman for 2 days before killing him with a knife on July 27. To accuse the Black Panthers and ignite the race war Manson predicted, the gang created a paw print and scattered political piggy and Hinman's blood on the wall. Beausoleil had little success. Few days later, he was apprehended. Trapped driving Hinman's stolen automobile. His initial hearing ended in a deadlock, but April 1970 established the verdict. First-degree murder. His execution date was April 15, 1970. After 2 years, California's Supreme Court reversed the death penalty and gave him life. Beausoleil did not stop producing music in prison. He finished Lucifer Rising's soundtrack in 1980. Whilst in jail, they released more records. He created art, but the crime remained. Years of rejection have prevented his freedom, at least 18 times by 2016. In January 2019, a parole board recommended his release, but the California governor blocked it. He stated the killing was awful, and Beausoleil didn't comprehend his actions. In 2025, another parole board approved. This decision, like the last, is uncertain. The government and board must approve it. Bobby Beausoleil has served almost 50 years in prison. He'll always be associated with America's deadliest cult as an artist. In entertainment, Kalian Walker Kr felt like the next big thing. A 1995 native, he was handsome, agile, and well-connected. He started as a rapper, then in movies and TV. He appeared in Kings with Daniel Craig and Halle Berry in 2017. He was pivotal in the Superfly remake a year later. The BET legal drama, In Contempt, featured him. His employment appeared to be going well, but something else was happening behind the scenes. Since 2013, Walker has been using social media to contact young women, especially models and artists. He offered job assistance. Instead, officials say he thrashed them. Its design was terrifying. meet them on Instagram or Twitter, and gain their trust. In private, he abused them. Fees mounted rapidly. Police arrested Walker in September 2018. The case grew as more individuals talked. He lied and used his popularity, according to prosecutors. One assured the jurors they would see his evil side. This happened in April 2022. His age was 27. In Los Angeles, he was charged with 3 forced rapes, 1 oral copulation attack, 2 minor rapes, and 2 intoxicated rapes. His other accusations were dismissed, but the damage was done. Last statements by Judge Joseph Brandolino, October 17, 2022. 50, life in prison. The judge ordered Walker to become a lifetime sex offender. His lawyer claimed the penalty was too severe, and they will appeal. The judge clarified one item. Walker was fired. He may spend his life in prison after appearing in blockbuster films. Skylar DeLeon described himself as a child entertainer. His sole known role is a brief one in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in the early 1990s. If you blink, you may miss him. He was in the headlines again, but not for acting. Skylar didn't seek fame from 1979 till now. He wanted cash. He didn't care how many perished for it. It started with John Jarvie in 2003. DeLeon met him briefly in jail. Later, he convinced Jarvie to invest $50,000 in a Mexican scam. After cutting his neck, DeLeon abandoned his body beside the road before Jarvie arrived. Jarvie was kind and confused. No worries, just a fast cash plan. But the following murders would be worse. Family hawks worked hard all their lives. They went to Newport Beach, California with well-deserved a 55-foot yacht after retiring. In November 2004, they sold the yacht to be near their grandchild. Skylar DeLeon, posing as a wealthy customer, phoned. He arrived with others. To demonstrate safety and trust, he brought his pregnant wife Jennifer Henderson and their child. It works, hawks were careless. DeLeon, Jennifer Alonzo McChain, and John Fitzgerald Kennedy attempted a test attack on November 15. They bound the couple, stole their money, and transferred boat title. They wrapped them in duct tape, roped them to a 65-pound anchor, and flung them out into the Pacific Ocean alive. Their corpses were never recovered. Everything boat-related. Plan went awry soon. Police found DeLeon trying to access their bank accounts and sell the yacht. By December, individuals were apprehended. Next court proceedings were terrifying. Prosecutors called the actions despicable. The Hawks family seen and heard everything horrific. John Jarvie's brother stated it best. A yacht was more important to him than 3 lives. Trial ended in 2008. DeLeon was convicted of 3 murders. The jurors recommended execution. Judge Frank Fossil sentenced on April 10, 2009. She was sentenced to life without parole. John Kennedy was executed. McChain got less time for lying against others. Skylar DeLeon, he is on California's death row. While in prison, DeLeon became a woman. This concludes a bizarre tale of money, deception, and terrible murder. Rashid Bird. Once Rashid Bird was rising. He was almost 6 feet tall. He played 1 season with the Lakers' G League affiliate, the Los Angeles Defenders. Despite his size, he had a brief role in the Will Ferrell film Semi-Pro, but never played in the NBA. Despite not being credited, he was a screenplayer. He briefly considered a career in show industry. But something worse was happening behind the scenes. Things fell apart in 2019. A lady told the LAPD a terrifying story. This tip allowed further investigation. Detectives immediately discovered there were more cases. Was convicted of sexual assault in 2010. In 2005, he was arrested in Washington for assaulting another young woman. What cops found was terrifying. Birds had routines. His status as a former footballer and small star helped him meet ladies. At first he was handsome, polite, and confident. Easy. He dressed differently when they trusted him. Beauty became agony. That started it. It always started like way. Case manager Detective Dara Brown simplified it. Rapes and fights followed his flirting. Los Angeles wasn't the only killing spot. Bird targeted women in Santa Clara and elsewhere. From 2015 to 2020, as police investigated, other victims came forward. All recounted the same tale. Together they created a terrifying image. The bird was captured on September 20th, 2020. Years passed as he concealed in plain sight. It ended. The subsequent trial revealed everything. The jurors learned about the deception, lies, and bloodshed. The charges involved many people and attacks. Clearly this guy made no mistake. Whoever did this understood what he was doing. Court imposed the sentence on March 1, 2024, from 90 to life in prison. That number was random. The frequency and severity of his crimes were shown. Rashid Bird would die in prison. He stopped making headlines for basketball or movies. Truth was the only thing left. LAPD issued a statement after the decision. Anyone else hurt by Bird was invited to come forward. They believed additional women had been hurt, but hadn't come forward. Some said the lawsuit was only the start.